One of the most powerful features of Bimbeats is the ability to create rules and connectors. And essentially what this means is you can be alerted as and when an event happens immediately, and that event gets sent to a channel such as Teams or Slack or any other webhook. So let's jump in and have a look at some of the out-the-box rules that we provide with Bimbeats. If we navigate down to Stack Management and Rules and Connectors, we can take a look at some of these out-the-box rules so that we can see how they're compiled, how you can edit them, and how you can create your own ones. So for example, if we look at something simple like a Revit sync time threshold, where you would want to be alerted as and when these events happen when Revit sync takes longer than a certain time frame. So if we come in and have a look at this, we can see that this alert is being checked every minute, and we're going to be notified every time that alert is active. The alert is looking in the Revit event index and is checking a document size of 100 records, which is adequate for the time frame. And then we're pasting in an Elasticsearch query, which is going to look at, in this case, just for the purpose of the demo, anything that is in excess of 1 second. So it's the action duration greater to or equal of 1 second, and the action name synchronization. So we've grabbed this essentially from a Discover search for that same criteria. So if we jump into Discover and we look at that search criteria, we're essentially saying action.name is sync and action duration is greater than 1, or in fact we said greater than equal to 1. So we can say is greater to or equal to 1, and then we can update. So if we say in the last 10 minutes, let's go in and perform this action with a file I've already got open. So if we come in here to a file, and I hit synchronize, synchronize was successful. I jump back into Bimbeats and refresh from the Discover screen. We can see that we now have a record that a synchronization occurred that took 3.85 seconds, so it meets this criteria. If we navigate to the Inspect tab and go to Request, if we scroll down from the point here from Query, we just need to copy and paste this query into our Elasticsearch query in Rules and Connectors, which is exactly what we've done here. So that's what that part of the query is. Once we've done that, we can run a test. So if we say test, we know that in the last minute we have one document that matches that criteria, which is why it's coming up with one document. And now we're getting that alert sent through. So this is the connection into Slack. And what we'll do is we'll set up one now to run this in Teams. So we'll call this Bimbeats test alert demo. And we now need to jump into Microsoft Teams in the desktop version, where we can be prompted via this link how to create that webhook. So if we jump into Teams and we create a new team, we'll make it private and we'll call it Bimbeats Alerts Demo. So we'll add Mike. We'll close. And now we have that, we need to create connector, incoming webhook, add, and then once we've added it, we just need to configure it. So connector. We can now say configure, give it a name, Bimbeats Alerts Demo, and we can add an image if we want to add an image, and we say create. And we're given a link here which we're going to paste into Bimbeats when prompted in the connector section. So I'll copy that to clipboard, we'll say done. Come out of there, and we'll jump back in to the rules, and we'll paste in our new URL, and we'll go save. And then typically what I would do in here is there's some default values as to the message that gets sent to that webhook. I generally remove these ones. I'll keep this in, which is the Elasticsearch query alert with the name. This is mustache language that it's being used here. So it will take the alert name of Revit sync time threshold. And what I generally do is I add out of the default list from here context.hits. And that's going to return a full record of what we saw here in Discover. So we're going to get a list of all of this information posted to the Teams channel. So we'll save that. And we'll open up Revit again and we'll synchronize one more time. Great. We'll jump back into Bimbeats and we'll refresh this for the last 10 minutes. And we'll see we now have 2 records. So second time, 3.78 seconds, so that met the criteria. So now within a minute, we should be alerted to that event via both Slack and Teams. So while we're waiting for that to come through, there's the alert in Slack. And if we jump into Teams, we can see that that same webhook has come through in Teams as well. So what I would advise you doing is to set up any webhook for anything that you want to do. I would carry out that operation in Revit, whatever it might be, look at how it's recording it within Bimbeats, and then once you've done that and you've added your filter criteria to filter out the event of what you're trying to find, come to inspect, go to request, copy the section from query, and then paste that into your Elastic query section of rules and connectors, which if we create a new one, you give it a name, go through the same sections that I went through when I showed you how I was editing one, and you just need to come in here and find Elastic query as your rule. And then when you open that up, you can then just paste in your query into that section there.